I wanted to be able to travel anywhere I wanted with my family without having any worry of not being able to run the air conditioner, not being able to take our pets with us, or just having to worry about power anywhere we went. So I purchased the Monument Solar Tahoe solar rack system for my 27-foot travel trailer. We did a full installation on our own, and we were able to actually get the help of the owner of the company who came in and installed this. This is one of the very first ones that was ever installed, so I feel very honored to be able to get that. You can go to their website, monument-solar.com, and you can see here they have very different options for different sizes. I got the Tahoe, and if you go and find a system that you like, you can add it to the cart, and it'll take you to a questionnaire page where you can get a hold of them, and they can get you pricing and everything. But I had a major problem, and that is I needed to rip off the 21 100-watt solar panels that I already had on the roof that I put hundreds of holes in the roof of my RV with. These Z brackets get the job done, but really this is a big concern having this many holes, and you can see even my cables were getting stressed, so I wanted to do a completely different system, and you can see just how wiggly and soft my roof is down the middle, but down the edge is a lot stronger. And that's why I was so impressed with the Monument Solar setup, because it uses the walls of the RV in order to give it its structure. Now I need a minimum of 7 feet 11 inches wide, and mine is 8 feet wide. But because the base plates go on the very edge of the RV, I couldn't actually go all the way up to the front cap of my RV because there's this little piece that sticks back. So I had to measure from there all the way from the front and then to the very back and get the exact measurement to make sure I could fit the solar panels I wanted. And what's so cool about this is it sits above the existing air conditioner. So it's only going to add about 2 inches or so to the overall height of my entire RV. I'm not worried about bridges. I'm not worried about low overhanging trees or anything. This will still fit pretty much just as if I'm driving my RV as it is. Now I am doing a little bit of DIY difference here than what the manufacturer recommends. They actually use self-tapping screws in these vertical T-posts, but I'm going to do a hex nut on a bolt instead. So this is a nylon threaded hex nut. I just felt better about having it sandwiched in there rather than just held in there with threads. Now this piece I call the hangman. I don't know the actual name for it, but we need to cut a little bit off of the top so that way it fits our panels just right. It is so much easier to build this on the ground. So go get the measurements on the roof, tell Monument Solar what you've got, and then build it on the ground. It will save you so much time on the ladders climbing up and down. These square aluminum tubes are telescoping, so we're just getting everything set on the ground so that way it will match on the roof. My friend Kyle here makes sure that the height is set, and then these self-tapping screws simply make sure that the height is set so that way it's going to get above the air conditioner. Checking the outside measurement of the base plate, making sure that it's not exceeding the 8 feet, and then there's this little scab piece or this little splice that we have to cut that will fit and make sure that that whole telescoping bar is completely flat across the top. I want this to be a really tight fit, so Kyle did a great job of getting that fit for me and tucked in real tight. One of the things that's so unique about the Monument Solar rack is that it has the ability to tilt the solar panels. So in order to do that, you have to put these saddles on this square aluminum tube. They're pretty easy to get in, but you do have to make sure you have just the right measurement from the outside posts in, because that's what's going to hold the lower swing arm, and this is the upper swing arm, which is going to bolt onto the bottom edge of the solar panel. Notice that I have a metal plate behind where I'm drilling. Do not drill the back of your solar panel without having some sort of protection. And then see how I slowed down as I'm getting close to the end of the hole to make sure that I don't punch through and break the back of the solar panel. Using these 1/4-inch stainless steel bolts, I just simply slide everything in through the frame and the upper swing arm and use the nylon threaded hex nut so that way it's all going to stay in place once it's all tightened up. Using a 7/16 wrench and socket makes this so much easier. Obviously my socket isn't impact rated, but didn't seem to care. I was able to get this on without any problems. Once the upper swing arms are on, we're just stacking these up to get prepared for putting these up on the roof. But before we do that, we have to prep the bottom of the base plates. The biggest concern with any solar roof rack is water intrusion. This is butyl tape, which makes sure that every single hole that's getting drilled into the roof has this butyl protection so that way water can't get in. And then in the end, we're also going to put on lap sealant so that way it's completely encapsulated. There's zero chance of any water getting in. These are the lag screws that will get put into the roof. Some of them will go into the top plate of the wall, and that's where you're getting the majority of the strength for the whole system. But to disperse the whole weight of the system, and some of those lag screws will go into the decking. Now you may or may not believe it, but this only took us about an hour to get all of the racking up and then all of the solar panels on. So we're making sure that we're being very precise with the placement of the racking. We need the spacing to be just right so that all of it lines up with the solar panels. And once it's marked into the right spot, we then take off the covering of the butyl tape and screw it into the decking and into the top plate of the side wall. We do the first 3 panels on the left and then the next 3 panels on the right, just because it was a little bit easier this time for how we were going to be getting up and getting down off of the roof. And the owner of Monument Solar was nice enough to start working on the cables there as well to make sure that this has extra strength, so that way as we accelerate and decelerate, that the panels aren't going to flop forward or fall backwards. Because we did so much prep work on the ground, it made everything easier going up on the roof. And just so you can see the angle of how we got these up on the roof, once the racking was installed, it just takes 2 people. We've got Kyle on the bottom pushing up, you got me on the top pulling up. You have to make sure that as you pull this up, you do not set the corner of the solar panel down on the roof of the RV. There's a high likelihood that you will puncture a hole, and then you're gonna have to deal with punctures in the roof after you've already sealed a ton of holes by putting those lag screws in. This is where the upper swing arm slides in next to the lower swing arm, and we're gonna attach these with special bolts that are easy to take off, so that way if we ever want to tilt the panels up, we can easily do that. This cabling is a security option to make sure that the whole system is sharing the load across the entire roof of the RV. And I prefer blue Loctite, so that way everything's going to stay in place without any question while we're traveling down the road. But if I ever need to make any adjustments or pull the system off for any reason, then it's not permanently fixed and I can get it off. You can buy this bottle of thread lock for $5 or $6 and it's going to last you a long time. The way that they tighten up is they use these turnbuckles, which as you spin the middle, it tightens the chain up. Again, I'm going to put the extra Loctite on here just so there's 0 chance of this moving. And in over a year of driving this around, I've had nothing come loose at all. Everything is screwed in nice and tight. Even the butyl tape is starting to push out a little bit, but I want to finish it with this lap sealant. It'll be 100% encapsulated, 0 chance of any water. About the day after installing this, we left and we did a multi-day trip to Yellowstone National Park. We only have a 3 kilowatt inverter because this is a 30 amp RV with a 7 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery. We are using the water connections, but you'll notice on the pedestal here, there's absolutely no shore power connected. We are making 100% of our own power, and with that, we're running our own mini split. I swapped using the rooftop air conditioner for this mini split because it's so much more efficient and it's quiet and it's really cold. We have a large 12 volt DC fridge, which runs directly 12 volts. And what I love about this is the freezer actually gets cold. I hate super soft ice cream. I want the freezer to work as intended. And we used about 50% of the battery running the mini split all night. So to keep it warm all night, we ran the heat pump in the mini split and it kept it plenty warm, and we had the propane furnace as a backup just in case we needed it. But we're already fully charged up to 100%. That all happened in an hour and 15 minutes. We really love the Monument Solar setup because now we can travel with our pets, running the air conditioning all day, have power all night long, and it's silent. We don't worry about being noisy or annoying neighbors. So if you want more information about this, I'll have my links down below. Tell them that Minuteman Solar sent you, and then you can go and get discounts on the Monument Solar racking and enjoy camping with your family just like I like to do.